Welcome to Behind the Membership Season 3, Episode 2. Today I'm talking with Louise Brogan from Social Bee NI all about the Social Bee Academy, which has been running for about 18 months now. In this episode, Louise shares what's been working for her when it comes to attracting new members, including how connecting one-to-one with people via in-person workshops, as well as online via Facebook and LinkedIn Messenger, have been great ways to grow her site. We also talk about the challenges and highlights of Louise's journey so far and how seeing the results from her members makes everything worthwhile. And you'll hear why Louise plans to focus even more on her membership this year and really make the membership a priority in her business. Plus much more. So let's get started.
Welcome to Behind the Membership with Callie Willows. Real people, real stories, real memberships.
Today, I'm joined on Behind the Membership by Louise Brogan from Social Bee NI, who's going to talk with us all about her membership, Social Bee Academy. Welcome, Louise.
Oh, thank you so much, Callie. I'm really delighted to come on your podcast. I love it.
It's a pleasure to have you join me. I'm really looking forward to talking with you about your membership journey. So if we actually dive straight in and get us started, could you tell us a little bit about Social Bee Academy, what exactly it is, who it's for, all the nitty-gritty details, really?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So I suppose who it's for is people who want to raise their visibility online mainly through social media, although I do cover other aspects of online marketing as well. Inside the Academy, I have completely comprehensive training on all of the different social media platforms, but also about strategy and understanding who you're trying to reach online, and all the bits that come with it. So, how to do webinars, how to build your email list, how to podcast, all of the things that together with social media really help people to make their presence felt online.
Awesome. So that sounds really comprehensive then.
Yes, it totally is. And interestingly, I started out in the sell a course space and moved into the membership space. And so the first course I created was called Facebook for Business. And that entire course is now inside my membership. So that kind of shows you, it's not like you go in and there'd be a half-hour training on Facebook. There's literally like an entire course on Facebook in there. That's just one example of the kind of content that's in there.
Awesome. And so how long ago did you actually launch the membership then?
So I was thinking about this before I came on, and I believe it was January of last year, so January 2018, cool. That I kicked off the membership. The life flies past by so quickly. It could have been longer, but in my head, that's what I think. Yeah, it's about a year and a half old. Yeah.
Awesome. And so have you been open continuously since you launched, or do you run on a closed membership and let people in a few times a year?
So following the training that I have learned from you guys, it's actually open all the time. And I do run little offers. At the minute, it's like a £10 a month to join for your first month at the moment. But I tried it with the open and close cart initially. And you try and test all these different things and see what works, don't you? So when I did the open and close cart, it was almost like it was such a massive thing to try and launch it. And I was like, when am I finding the time in my life to do this launch? And then I started, interestingly, last summer, I went out. So I live in Belfast in Northern Ireland. And I have this role with Facebook called the She Means Business accredited trainer for Facebook in Northern Ireland. And I went out and did 13 local networking events, and at each of those I spoke to people about my membership, and I pretty much got members signing up from every event. Now you know yourself, Callie, it wasn't like if the 10 people were there, 10 people didn't sign up, but maybe 1 or 2 did from each event. And I realized that by having a closed membership, you're really blocking yourself a little bit there, because people come to you at different times through the year, and if by having it open all the time, then if someone comes and meets me or comes to a webinar I'm running, then they're able to join. And it just seems to work better for me that way than opening and closing a couple of times a year.
Yeah, and I think you're in quite a competitive market as well. There's a lot of other options. So if you've got your doors closed, there's somewhere else somebody could go to learn similar things rather than waiting for you. So it is, you are in that market there where kind of there is a lot of alternatives for people to choose from.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And I would see there's some massive memberships out there who would attract similar audience to me, who do run the big, like maybe open like once or twice a year. And I'm thinking of maybe somebody like Carrie Green's female
entrepreneur association.
Yeah. So, and there's a massive drive for that a couple of times a year. But no, it just doesn't work for me in my business. And yeah, as I say, like people join my email list and I want to be able to offer them the membership within a certain period of time. I did do the whole deadline funnel timeline thing. So when I had my standalone courses, but I was never able to get the tech to work exactly right for me. So I gave up on that. And yeah, so now if people want to join, they can come and try it out themselves. And if they, if it's for them, it's for them. And if it's not, then because everyone likes different teachers and teaching styles, don't they, as well?
Yeah, I think everybody resonates with different people. And as you say, the different teaching styles and topics as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And so final practical question really then, how much is the membership and has that changed since you first launched?
Okay, so it is £30 a month for people. As I said, they can join at £10 for their first month. And I started at 25 a month and I went up to 30. And I suppose if I went back to the very start, I maybe would have started, my first 3 months, that it would have been a lower number to get that higher volume in at the very start. But sure, we can all go back and look at things we might have done differently.
Yeah, definitely.
But I do have then, if somebody wanted to join for a year, it would be £300. So there's an option for, to get it for 300 if they join for a year.
Cool. And you have a VIP tier as well, don't you? A higher tier.
Yes, I do. So I came up with this idea. So we're recording this in May. Up with this idea a couple of months ago because I have people who want to work with me a little bit more one-to-one, but don't necessarily want to book like a one-off strategy session. So the VIP, I actually call it VIBs.
I like that.
The VIBs, it's £99 and they get access to all of the membership and the coaching and the expert webinars and everything. But they also get a one-to-one call with me every month for half an hour. And I really like that too, Callie, because you can see real progress with people when you're talking to them every single month in their business as well.
Yeah, and you probably hear a bit more about what they're actually doing than necessarily people who are just in the general community and things as well.
Yes. And then, of course, then you become friends.
Yeah. Yeah. And so going back to the beginning then, what actually inspired you to create Social Bee Academy? What made you decide to go down the membership route?
So, well, I work from home. So I have a co-working space that I go into maybe a couple of days a week. But I have 3 kids, so they're 13, 11 and 9. And I created this business so that I could work around them being at school. And I thought that having the membership just seems like such a good option for somebody who wants to have more flexible working, but also to have like a recurring revenue stream.
Yeah.
In the school holidays and the Easter holidays and Christmas, unless I'm paying somebody to look after my kids, I can't be going out and because I do workshops locally as well. So, next week I'm doing a workshop in Dublin and I do workshops all over Northern Ireland, in-person workshops. So I can't necessarily do those as much during those school holiday periods, and neither do I want to. So having my business online really works for me, and having the membership, again, it's the whole, if I had stuck with doing Instagram for business, Facebook for business, standalone courses, you'd have to be constantly launching them. Whereas the membership just a really good business model, I think, for someone who's in my situation.
Yeah. And so you mentioned that you started off by selling courses and things. Are you still selling other products as well, or are you pretty much doing just the workshops and the membership?
I don't sell other courses, although interestingly, I see an option for there's some people who don't want to join memberships.
Yeah.
I'm sure, obviously you've met them as well. There are people who will join my membership and then they'll say to me, Louise, I'm not finding the time to get into this, so it's not for me. And a way of capturing those people and the people who, you know, a lot of my members are, maybe about 50% of my members are from Northern Ireland, and membership's maybe not necessarily something that when I talk to them about it, they don't really know exactly what I mean by a membership. People who aren't in the online space don't really necessarily know what that means. But I said, you know, would you do like a 3-month program, like a group program? So that's something I'm looking to bring out, I think, in September. But with the idea being that the people who are in that group program then would graduate into almost the lower tier, which is the membership, kind of to keep tabs and stay in touch with me. So that's something I'm exploring at the minute.
Awesome. So kind of having that kind of the membership still be kind of the central point for people to come in, but having a few other options for people that want that little more or aren't fixed with the membership model.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And so you mentioned there as well that I think you said most of your members are kind of based in Northern Ireland. Is that, do you think, because you are attracting members from the in-person workshops and things, or is that a deliberate move on your part to kind of make this a more localized membership?
No, it's not supposed to be local at all. And I do have members from, like I have a couple of people from Canada and Australia as well. So, no, it's not local, but I think the fact that people here know me more, you know, on my email list, I have about over 2,000 people on my email list, and I would say a good third of them are from Northern Ireland. So it kind of just makes, you know, it's just numbers. It's a numbers game, isn't it? Like we always say online in the online space, if more of my audience are from Northern Ireland, then probably more of my audience in my membership are going to be Northern Ireland as well.
Yeah, totally. So a tough one now then. What would you say has been your biggest challenge with the membership?
I think that it's a challenge that I recognize and I'm focusing on this year, is that I have too many revenue streams in my business. I recognize that, and I really see the potential in the membership, and I want to give it my focus for the second half of 2019, because, you know, when I look at retention rates, people stay, you know, they get really good value out of it and they stay. So I don't have a lot of people who leave it, but it's not maybe growing as much as I can see it has potential to. So one of the things I've been trying recently is running webinars. And I want to properly spend some time developing out that funnel, if you like, because when people sign up to my webinars, they really see that I know what I'm talking about, and then they join the membership as a result. But because I'm doing local training, local workshops, talking at local networking events, it's hard to find a consistent time for, you know, putting that webinar into my diary. So I said at the start of this year I would do a webinar a month, and I haven't even managed to do that. So one of the reasons I'm coming to your conference in September in Newcastle, which I'm really looking forward to, is to really give my membership a huge focus for the second half of this year, because, you know, like I say, I can see that people really enjoy it and get good value out of it.
Yeah, it's just making it more of that central point in the business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I can understand that, and I think a lot of people who have the kind of different offers, different services, and things can probably relate to that as well. It can be hard to grow things as well as you want when your focus is split in different directions.
Yes, exactly.
So, if that's the challenge, then what's actually been the highlight for you, or the favorite thing about having a membership?
When people say that I've made a real difference to their business. So I'm hosting a conference here in Northern Ireland at the end of May, and there's a lady coming on stage called Barbara. So she is an estate agent in Northern Ireland, and after joining my membership and me teaching her how to, so her and her partner left another company and set up on their own and said, well, we need to learn about marketing. And she joined my membership, and she started making these really fabulous little videos and stuff for Facebook, and she got shortlisted for the Marketer of the Year in the Estate Agents Awards for Northern Ireland. And she said it was completely down to the help I'd given her. And things like that, you just think, well, that's just everything this is meant to be, you know. And I love the live calls and connecting with the members and being in the community. You know, it's just, I really, really enjoy helping people with their business.
Awesome. I love that. And yeah, seeing the results from those members, especially as I think you mentioned before, when you've had that kind of longer term relationship with them and you get to know them and things as well.
Yeah.
It's so rewarding.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of my audience as well, people will come to me and say, oh, I just don't know how to use this social media. And there's a real fear of going and putting yourself out there a little bit about your personality out on social media. And I like to think that that's what I help people with, is getting over the fear of doing that as well.
Yeah, I love that. And so you've already mentioned that you've kind of been trying some webinars and things that have been working well. So what are you finding is working well for you when it comes to attracting new members?
Interestingly, and I'm talking about this at the conference, actually connecting with people one-to-one, which I think Mike did a podcast about this recently, how, actually you build your membership one person at a time. So definitely connecting with people one-to-one, meeting people in person and they realize that you know what you're talking about. The webinars, my email list is growing really well because of different visibility strategies that I've had. And I suppose my next challenge is going to be is converting those people from being on an email list to trying out the membership. So, but yeah, definitely connecting with people and ironically using social media.
See, at least it works. So when you say connecting one-to-one with people, are you referring there to kind of the workshops that you've been going to, as you mentioned before, or are you actually getting on calls one-to-one with people? How are you fostering those connections?
Probably more so through meeting at events, networking events. If I've been talking at something and someone comes up and talks to me afterwards, but also through Messenger. So interestingly, I haven't really done the discovery calls for the membership. So that might be something to explore as well. I don't know. I suppose part of me thinks, where do I find the time for that? Yeah. But if it was a strategy, everything, you have to try and test everything out, don't you? Different strategies, if they work, then you do them more.
Yeah. So with the Messenger, is that just when people send you a message? Do you have a chat bot and things going there, or is that just very much kind of a natural conversation with people?
Yeah. So if somebody sends me a message, I don't send out cold messages about my membership. But if somebody sends me a message or a query, so I might get a message through Facebook Messenger asking me, when are you holding your next workshop or whatever? And I'll say, well, it's not until da-da-da, but did you know that I have, this membership to try out? That kind of idea as well. And LinkedIn Messenger works as well. Not so sure about Instagram Messenger actually converting into any sales for me in any part of my business. But yeah, I think LinkedIn Messenger and Facebook Messenger, connecting those ways with people.
Awesome. Yeah. And it's funny with Instagram because Instagram's becoming my favorite social platform, but very much from a social point of view, which obviously is what it's meant to be. But I think as business owners, we become so focused on what's going to have a return in the business that you forget sometimes the actual purpose of all
social media. So true. Oh, that's not the second time that the conversation's been had in my house today, Callie.
So if that's kind of the things you're trying to get new members, you mentioned before you have really good retention. So what are you actually doing to keep those members and encourage that retention?
Well, I think that I'm very clear with my members that they can ask me whatever they want and whenever they want. So we have our community is in a Facebook group, which works for me and it works for my members. So they pop questions in there all the time. In fact, interestingly, sometimes they send me a private message with a question and I say, do you mind putting that in the group so everyone can benefit from that? So the Facebook group is active and people ask questions in there, and I put new content in every month. I have another strategy that I have is I've run 2 online summits and I've had quite big names in those summits. So people like Carol Cox and Kate Erickson have both been on my summits and given really amazing value. And then I've dripped that content into my membership. So the quality of the training in there from other people as well as my own, I think, is high. And then we have a guest expert webinar once a month. and we have the group coaching call once a month as well. So I think that, well, hopefully my members know I'm very accessible and they can ask me questions when and, as and when they need help with stuff.
Yeah. And so with the online summits that you mentioned there, so are you running those as a kind of lead generation initially? Are you selling those separately and also putting them in the membership? How are you using those summits?
Yeah, they're very much, the very first time I did it, it was very much about an email list builder. And also, I guess, connecting me with the people that I reached out to. It was kind of bringing them closer into my network as well. When I launched both summits, I did on Teachable, and I sold all access passes to them that weren't very expensive. Interestingly, I didn't get a lot of sales at that, but I did get people joining the membership as a result. So if say I ran the online summit for like the 1st to the 3rd of June, then I would say, so you can buy the all access pass from the 2nd to the 4th of June, and then it went away. So then if you wanted to access that content, it was then dripped out into the membership at a rate of 2 talks every month. And that seems to have worked really well. And it's interesting because now I've got 2 banks of these summits, and I'm actually considering pulling them all in together and calling it like a social media rewrap or something as another way of list building. And again, if you want access to all this content, it's in the membership. So it seems to work well for me as a strategy.
Awesome. And so you mentioned the Facebook group there as well, and kind of having that as a central point for questions and things. Do you actually do anything in that group in terms of, do you have kind of a theme days approach? Do you have particular days where you encourage people to share particular things or accountability? Do you do anything like that in the group, or is it very much just a kind of organic people questions and connecting with each other?
I would say it's more organic. I also... I'm in a Facebook business group that Facebook invited me into. So they would share stuff with us there, like brand new things and trainings that I can then share into my group as well. And also if there's like breaking news on one of the social media platforms, I will share that into my group as well. So it's a source of what's happening right now and what's the latest news, and what do we all think about this. For someone who teaches social media, that does not mean that I am Facebook's biggest fan either. I'm quite happy to be not critical is not the right word, but to be honest about what I think about some of the things that go on within the social media industry as well. But yeah, I don't do like, oh no, today's Thursday, let's all share our blog post or anything like that. But people know that they can, if they want, if they want advice on something, they can absolutely do that. Sometimes you need to prompt people, but I think when you start a Facebook group, it can start out that way, that you really need to encourage people by prompting them. But once you're up and running a little while, it kind of becomes more organic, which I think is nice.
Yeah, I think once your members start connecting with each other a little bit more and it becomes less reliant on you,
yes,
you can kind of let that organic growth come through.
Definitely, yeah.
And so you mentioned there as well that you're putting new content into the membership every month. Mm-hmm. Is that something you plan out quite far in advance, or do you kind of, social media is one of those topics where things can change very quickly?
Yes.
So it's something where you kind of, you're a bit more, I'll use the term last minute, but not necessarily kind of scrambling at the last minute. Or as I said, do you have that all planned out?
I would like to say that I have it all planned out, but that would not be true. What I tend to do is people will raise questions about things. So I'm more inclined to go to create training for, the next month coming. I want to do stuff about building your email list. I know a lot of my members would like to know how to actually just get started with doing that. So that's something I want to do for June. So that kind of way it works. And but then if something major happens, so because you never really know with social media. So if something major happened where Zuckerberg decided to pull out the entire news feed and replace it with groups, which by the way I don't believe is going to happen. If something major like that happened and it just changed the entire look of Facebook, well then obviously that would need to be my focus for June. So I'm fluid that way, let's say.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're working a lot on what your members are actually asking for as well, which is always a great way to go.
Yeah.
Cool. So shifting gears a little bit then, let's talk about life as a membership site owner. We've already mentioned you have other aspects to the business. So how are you actually finding time to kind of run the membership alongside everything else you're doing? Where does it fit into kind of your daily routine?
Well, I think I have to be organized. So this is where, like, I have my guest experts lined up for the next 5 months, and they are booked in the calendar, so that those are set in stone. Creating the content itself doesn't take me a huge amount of time, which I don't want that to sound unprofessional, but I know my content and my topic so well that it's a matter of, I could create the training for June in a matter of in a couple of days. It's just being organized, Callie, and making sure I block out time in the calendar to give that focus to the membership.
Cool. And do you have a team helping you as well, or is it all completely just you?
There's no team involved in the Social Bee Academy. I outsource my podcast editing and show notes to other people, and I outsource really general admin tasks to a VA. But I'm not sure I would let anybody touch my membership. Oh dear, I'm not a control freak, I promise.
It's one of those things, though. I do think it's harder kind of to hand over certain tasks with a membership than it is with anything else, because you do develop that relationship with your members. It's an ongoing thing, so you want to give them the best experience. And I think that can be a lot harder to kind of just give responsibility to somebody else.
There's just some bits. I mean, if somebody else couldn't do the training, I don't think. Yes, I have the guest expert webinars, which is wonderful. So you have a nice mix. So it's not just me all the time.
Yeah.
But I can't see how I would bring somebody else in to do the training on, how to use LinkedIn best for your business, or what's the latest news on Facebook groups. I can't see how I would do that. And also with the group coaching, I think if my members showed up to my group coaching call and it wasn't me, I'd be thinking, what? Where's Louise gone?
Yeah, they're there for you at that point.
Yeah.
Definitely. And so what tasks are you actually focusing on a daily or weekly basis? You said the content doesn't take you that long. So is the main thing just checking in with the community and kind of that's the main task that you're doing for the membership on an ongoing basis?
Yes. And I do have a plan for it. And it's having that outlet. I'm becoming quite a fan of sticky notes, post-it notes, I have to say. And I think I'm kind of all consumed with my conference right now. But once that is over, it's going to be all consuming with the membership. And I have in my head, I have a post-it note wall of the content and the plans for everything I'm going to do. But yeah, it's checking in with everybody every day, making sure everyone's okay. We have a messaging pod on Instagram as well. And just keeping tabs on all of my members as much as I can, and some of them tag me and some of them don't. There's some people who are in the membership, and I'm sure it's the same with the Member Site Academy, who never come to a live call and never come into the group. And it's almost like, it's not that you forget they're there, but sometimes you're like, oh, I didn't know that person was a member because I haven't heard from them in 9 months.
Yeah, I always find that funny. As you say, there's always that portion of your members who are quite happy doing their own thing, and you don't necessarily even know that they're there. Yeah. And on the one hand, I really like that, but on the other hand, I love knowing what my members are working on. So when there's members who I'm like, well, I don't even know what they're doing.
Yes, exactly. Well, because I will see, I try and follow my members on their social media. So if I see their posts, I will comment on them and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, to keep tabs on what they're all up to.
And so is there anything that you actually wish you'd known earlier or would do differently if you were starting again?
Yes, I think I would actually. I think I kind of touched base a little bit on it earlier. I've seen another person in this space who has launched a membership and launched it at £10 a month to their audience. And then they've gone up to 20 and up to 25. And I think that's something I would have done differently, because I don't really feel that I would go much higher on my monthly rate. So it's more when I'm trying to do a push for new members, for example, that's why I would have an offer for, a trial period. So I definitely do that. Would I have had a bigger email list at the start? I'm not sure, Callie, because a lot of the stuff I've learned about growing the email list in order to launch to, I've learned over a longer period. And I think sometimes if you want to build something like a membership and you're waiting until you have a certain number of people or a certain audience, then you might never actually do it. Yeah. So I'm glad I started when I did.
Yeah, you've kind of got to weigh up that kind of waiting to get big enough to launch with just getting started as well.
Mm-hmm. I think pricing as well is really hard.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Pricing is like probably one of the biggest questions we get is what should the price be? And it is a difficult one because there's no fixed answer. So as you said, you can start low. I mean, I always recommend starting low so that you can raise the price because it's easier to do that than to drop it. But as you said, you don't necessarily know whether £10 would have bought you like double the members that 20 did. For example, it's just such a hard thing to kind of take a guess on essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
And so if anybody listening is thinking of starting a membership or they've just started a membership, do you have anything that you would advise them or tip that you would give them?
Yes, I would. Well, hilariously, I would obviously suggest that they join the Membersite Academy. I have this thing about people trying to figure out everything on their own when, it's all there for you wrapped up in a package. I think it is quite a lot of work. It is quite a lot of work. You've got to be committed to producing every month. And I think you've got to like people as well. Because, I think the reason why my retention rate is so good is because, my members know that I like them.
Yeah.
I like connecting with them and communicating with them. So if you're thinking about starting your own membership, you've got to understand that it does take time and effort. You have got to show up every month. You can't just think, well, I'm going to produce, I'm going to produce 50 webinars, stick them in a membership and charge people a fee, and then not really do anything with them after that. And having the community is really important. So it's not for everybody. Don't think it is for everybody. But also being topic specific. And you said earlier, I'm in quite a red ocean, if you like, with social media. But for me, I wouldn't niche down to doing, just Facebook or something like that. I like talking about this earlier in my own podcast. I like having all of the social media aspects with my business. But finding something that really well that you can help people with, and be able to produce enough content to keep it going month after month as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I love what you said there about needing to like people as well, because it is so true. Like you do need to be willing to kind of show up for your members on an ongoing basis. And if the idea of that sounds terrible to you, then a membership probably is the best option.
And it's interesting because I'm not sure that was ever came across my mind before I started a membership. It wasn't something I thought about, but then I suppose I'm a people person anyway. So I was lucky in that aspect.
Yeah. Whereas I'm quite introverted. So in person, I'm not a talker. I'm not like particularly a people person in person, but with a membership, I find that that's perfect for my personality. So like, answering forum posts or even doing the live calls and things, that's perfect for me.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
I think you had Laura, didn't you, from Worditude?
Yes.
On the podcast in an earlier series. And I can see that works really well for her. Her and I are quite similar in that she has kids at home, same age, and wants to work from home and be able to help people. And yes, as much as I am very much a people person and quite happy in networking spaces as well, sometimes it's quite nice just to sit behind your computer screen and deal with stuff too.
Yeah. Have a cup of tea and do some typing.
Yes.
And so you mentioned before that you are planning on kind of focusing a lot more on the membership in the second half of the year.
Yes.
So I would love to know, as we start wrapping things up then, what are your goals for Social Bee Academy? Where would you actually like to be in 12 months, 2 years' time?
Oh gosh, in 12 months' time, Callie, I would like to at least have doubled my membership. I see there's so much potential in it that I could see this being my main, if not solo revenue stream. It's just me making the time to give it the space that needs to grow.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And also reaching more people and helping more people as well. Yeah, no, that's what I see it becoming, a much bigger audience that can help more people and have people just connecting with each other as well from all over the place. I love that concept for it.
That sounds great. And so it sounds then like you're doing a lot of different things at the minute, but it sounds like the end game is to actually kind of have the membership be pretty much the business.
Yes, it is. It is because, as we're getting older, in 2 years' time, my daughter's going to be doing GCSEs. So who knows what life will look like in this house then. And I also have a son who needs a little bit of extra help. So yeah, having the business focused around something I can do while my kids are at school actually is perfect for me.
Yeah. And so would you actually say that that's been the biggest impact the membership's had for you, is being able to spend that time with the family and focus around them? Or would you say it's something else?
I think that, I do. I think my whole business, I think, is being able to be here at home and work while the kids are at school. Yeah. And the membership is definitely a massive, massive part of that. Yeah.
Awesome. And so I'll be sure to put the links to your site and your podcast and things in the show notes. But if somebody is sat there thinking, I really need to check out Louise's membership site and learn all about social media and things, where's the best place for them to head to do that? To
www.socialbeeacademy.com, Callie, and it's B, a buzzy bee.
Yeah, B as in the buzzy bee. I love the term VIBs, by the way, that you said you were using for your preview tier.
That was one of those crazy, stroke of genius in the middle.
Yeah. So do you actually call your members social bees?
I actually they're beehivers.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I have this whole thing with social bee. I don't call myself queen bee. Don't like that. So and I don't call them worker bees. So it's hard to find terminology that isn't mildly hierarchically.
Yeah.
So yeah, social bees or social beehivers. Yeah.
Awesome, like that. And so I think we'll wrap up there then. So thank you so much for joining me today, Louise. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and I'm really looking forward to watching what you do with your membership next and seeing you hit those goals and that business transition.
Thank you so much, Callie. It's been really lovely talking to you, as always.
That's all, folks. Big thank you to Louise for joining me. And as always, a big thank you to you for listening too. If you want to check out what Louise is doing, then be sure to head on over to socialbni.com. And of course, you can head over to themembershipguys.com/BTM24 to pick up the show notes, transcript, and all of Louise's links too. I'd also love to hear your top takeaway from the episode, so let me know over in our free Facebook group at talkmemberships.com. You also heard Louise mention our upcoming conference in September 2019, and if you're wondering what that is, then visit retainalive.com for all the details. If you like this podcast and you want to connect with other membership site owners in real life, then it's a great event to be at, and we still have a few tickets left. I would love to see you there. So that's it from me for this week. Thank you for joining me, and do subscribe and listen in for another episode next week.
If you've enjoyed today's episode of Behind the Membership, we invite you to check out the membersiteacademy.com. The Member Site Academy is the essential resource for anyone at any stage of starting, growing, and running a membership website. So whether you're still figuring out what your idea is going to be, or whether your website is already up and running and you're just looking for ways to grow it and attract new members, then the Member Site Academy can help you to get to the next level. With our extensive course library, monthly training, exclusive member-only discounts, perks and tools, and a supportive, active community to help you along the way with feedback, encouragement and advice, the Member Site Academy is the perfect place to be for anyone looking to start, manage and grow a successful membership website. So check it out at membersiteacademy.com.